Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Gents Making Sense. What's going on, Mr. Sulayman?
What's going on, Mr. Cox, man? Back at it, man. We appreciate it, man. Let's get it going. We got a good guest tonight.
Go ahead and it is.
Yeah, we had Lieutenant Commander Mark Edwards on before, highly viewed content that week, and we wanted to get him back. We've been trying for a few weeks, but he's such a busy man. It's hard to get him back out here. Welcome back, Mark, man. We appreciate it. We love having you on, man. Looking forward to a good conversation.
Thank you. I'm happy
Yes,
to be
sir.
back.
He was one of our first. Matter of fact, he may have been the
Well,
first guest. He's our second guest we ever had on the show in season 1. And look at us, we're at season 3 now. While we're at that, just want to let you know we're at close to 200 subscribers now. We have over 75,000 views and everything. Look us up on Spoutable at Gents on Spoutable. We have content out there, and our main platform is YouTube at Gents Making Sense. That's where a lot of our content is and everything. So hit that like and subscribe button. It don't cost you anything to subscribe. Just help us stay on the air and everything. Okay, so let's get at it. Gents Making Sense. Our topic today is MLK's vision and the modern Black man. Gents Making Sense. On this program, we try to think deeper, speak freely, and build community with one conversation at a time. Today's episode is special because MLK Day just passed. It's a blessing to be a member of Martin Luther King's church. I'm a member of Ebenezer Baptist Church, and we had a program on Monday, and we had a good church service on Sunday to commemorate it. This episode is special because we're stepping into a legacy. We're stepping into responsibility, and we're stepping into the dream, the MLK dream. Dr. Martin Luther King left us more than a holiday and a handful of quotes. He left us a blueprint, a vision for who we could become as Black men in a world that wasn't designed for our survival, let alone our success. So today we're asking a simple but powerful question. What does MLK's dream mean to Black men right now? Not 1963, not in the textbook, 2026. So let's get at it right away. That's the only scripted part you're going to see about this show. We try to talk freely about it. So I'm not going to put our guests on the spot first. So Sulayman, what did MLK's dream today mean to you today?
Why not put him on the spot, man?
Nah, we ain't going to do him like we want him to come back, man. Come on.
I appreciate it. Hey, did Senator Warnock, did he give the sermon?
Yeah, Sunday he gave the sermon. On Monday we had guest speakers, and I'm telling you, go to Ebenezer Baptist Church on YouTube, and you can see the ceremony. And Dr. King's daughter, I know her name would leave me as soon as I think her youngest daughter, not Yolanda, but what's the youngest daughter name? I'll get it. Anyway,
No worries.
she did a sermon up there, and she had the place riveted. I'm serious. It was riveted. She had a good sermon up there. So,
Good.
yeah.
Yes. Well, all right. Since you want to put me on the spot, I'll go ahead and do my thing. No, I mean, I think that, well, what does Dr. King's message mean to me? I think that, and I might be in a minority here, but to me, I think that Black people in this country have accomplished the dream that Dr. Martin Luther King made for us. I mean, we are in every aspect of American culture. In fact, I would say that American culture, there is no American culture without Black people. We have PhDs, we have very educated, highly educated people. We have everyday, Black men that are out here doing our job. We have Black men in the communities trying to help our young folks. We have a lot of people that still need to be brought up the ladder. And I think that's what his dream was about, is somebody helping other people get up the ladder. What I will say is I don't know that the country as a whole has kept up its promise to American citizens in reference to us. And I think that right now this administration is kind of taking us back to a time where things are not as equal as they should be, where, people are given advantages that they normally wouldn't have advantages. So I think that the country It's maybe not where he wanted us to be, but I think us as a people, I think we have accomplished what he wanted us to accomplish in the 50s and the 60s. So I'm proud of that, but I think we got a long way to go.
Okay. I'm throw it to you now, Mark. Bring it on home for us, okay?
I would say I would have to agree with Solomon that I believe that there's been a lot of good opportunities and we have achieved a lot of goals. However, I still think that we still struggle with hitting that glass ceiling. So there's still things out there that we still have a lot of trouble getting past because of our color. And I think that, Martin Luther King's dream was equality, opportunity, unity, for all. And I think that, we as people still struggle with that. Even sometimes within our own race, sometimes we have that same struggle. And I think to a certain degree, yes, we have met a lot of things that Dr. King want us what his vision is, but I also think that we still got some way to go as well too.
Mm.
And like someone was mentioning about this administration, it has been so much chaos and just so much
Drama.
drama, and just
It's
when you
exhausting,
it's
isn't
just
it?
racial, there's a lot of racial profiling. Sometimes you almost think, are you going backwards instead of going forward? So we as a people need to continue to look at Martin Luther King's dream and continue to press forward with it.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
It is.
Very exhausting. Good. And you take us into what we're gonna talk about next, and that's where the dream meets reality and where we're living in today. I think Suleiman, you hit a good note there. I think we sell ourselves short sometimes in that in that in some cases we've realized that dream. But what we have to understand is we're still trying to we're still trying to get to some of those hit some of those marks.
Mhm.
And the crazy thing about the whole thing is while we're trying to hit those marks, we got people trying to take them away from us
Sure.
at the same time, which is really crazy. So let's have a reality check here and let's talk about and let's be honest about this. What are some of the things that Black men are facing today that are just not the goalposts or the needle hasn't moved that much? Mark, I'll let you have that one first today this time.
I still, again, like I mentioned before, it's still hard for us to hit the glass ceiling. And what I mean is like CEO positions. We're having trouble still meeting those positions. And I think again, because of the stereotype, because they rather see a white man, be in that position more so than a Black man. I'm not saying that we haven't achieved some, but we still have quite a long way to go. And, me as a Black man, I've been in positions where I was more qualified than the other person, but yet they got the senior position over me. And that still exists today.
It does. Yep, it does. One of the highest rated shows we've had was about media, and that's one of the things that we want to hit on today. Media representation of the Black man still is deeply flawed. Suleiman, let's beat it up again. Once again, let's let them know that the media does us no favors for the most part, and sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
Yeah, I think there's two pieces to that. One in reference to media. One, and I said this many times before, is that we need our own media. And I mean media that is specifically geared towards African Americans. Every other race in this country has an advocate for them when it comes to media, except for our people. Our media is stupidity stuff like reality TV and, sitcoms where people are acting like buffoons and stuff like that. We need our own media where people that we see on media look like us, share our reflection. They're talking about the better parts of us. I don't know when it's become fashionable to relate to every race of people through the lowest common denominator. And we seem to be the main race of people that that happens to. There are plenty of people, I mean, like us, that are out here, get up every day, go to work, do a good job, represent our community, our people in a good light, but that never gets shown on television, particularly when it comes to media. When the media comes on at 6 and 11 o'clock, everything is murder, rape, suicide, that type of stuff, as opposed to talking about the good that some of our people are doing in our community. So we need our own media to present that to the world. Secondly, as a people, we need to do a better job of representing ourselves when we are out in the public. The way that we look, how we communicate with people, how we represent our community so that those better images can be portrayed across the world. Man, I think that that's something that we can take advantage of as a people. And then third, let me give you one more thing, is I think that in our community, there are two things that we need to change. One is we're too informal with each other. You know, where we're constantly, everybody wants to be cool. Everybody wants to be, you know, say all the cool language instead of being formal with each other. I've had people walk up to me. I'm 56 years old. I've had 20 something year olds walk up to me and say something as similar like, "What's up?" And I'm like, really? I mean, I'm 56 years old. I mean, you don't talk to, you know, your elders or somebody who's older than you like that and, you know, say hello to me and represent me. We're too informal, with each other. And then the respect, I think, in our community between the younger generation and the older generation, and recognizing that we have something we can teach you to make you better off as you move forward. And I think if we do some of those things, I think the image of Black men will change a little bit across the country and across the world.
Those are good points, man. One of the one you say about us being too informal, I think, and this is just my opinion. I think when we did realize one of Martin Luther King's dream of integration, I think we lost some of our sense of community. We became inundated with trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, and we lost respect for our elders.
Mhm.
Like you said, a young man come up to you and say, "What's up?" That would have never happened in the past. And I can talk about the past because I'm old. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I look at I look when I look at movies today, I look at a lot of different movies. I look at African movies. Nollywood is a real thing. It really is. And I look at them to try to look at the culture and how get an idea how they really live in Africa and stuff. And not just the soap operas, but the documentaries and stuff like that. And how they revere their elders to the point where when you come up to an elder before you speak, you bow pretty
Mhm.
much.
Mhm.
And you call them by elder name like we used to do, you know. How you doing there, sir? How you doing, ma'am? How you doing, ma? Whatever. Something to that effect. And if we're sitting down as a youth, we get up and let the older people sit down. We don't see that kind of stuff anymore. We used as youth, we used to my mom would tell me, "Go down to Miss Jones' house, you know she's sick. Go and see if she needs you to go to the store and get something for her, or
Yeah.
can you take her to the store?" You
Yeah.
know, we took care of these people and stuff. And now we just kinda throw our elder to the side and disrespect them and not, revere 'em. I think and that's part of the family part of it that we really gotta get back to. And I don't want this to all seem doom and gloom because there's some good things that are happening. So I'm gonna go with Mark now. And Mark, just let me know, tell me what you think about the more powerful things that are happening. I can be a witness to one of them, Black Man in Therapy. If I had told my dad that I was going to therapy, he probably would have had a fit. But now you can go to therapy and not be ashamed of it these days, you know? So talk about some of the good things that you're seeing, Mark, that's changed.
You know, I would have to just echo what you was just saying about Black men in particular getting counseling. Mm, That was one of the things that as Black men that we shied away from is getting the help that we need, especially the mental health side of things. We've always brought up to be tough, that, you don't need no counseling. You can just get over it.
Yes.
But mental health is a real thing. And there's a lot of Black men that's suffering from it, but what I see today on a positive note is that a lot of Black men are getting the help that they need. So that's one of the positive things. And I think too that we have a lot of Black men today that are going after education. There's more Black men that's going after education today, I think, in more than it's ever been, so that they can get more opportunities. I've been blessed that my sons have gone to college. One is graduating in May, and my other one, he's actually in his second year of college. So I think by me setting the precedence for going to school, that gave them an opportunity, and I pressed it along the way as I was growing up. Growing up, that I wanted to always do better. So I wanted them to do better than me. And I think education was one of the ways that they can hopefully achieve their goals.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think that's solid. I mean, and I'm not going to prolong this, but I
That's
will
okay.
say this, since we're kind of talking about media a little bit, is I think that we're already doing that. But because we don't have a microphone and a foghorn to put what we're accomplishing out there, it seems as though we're not. I mean, we're not. We have a lot of educated people in our community. A lot of people are doing good stuff in our community, but we don't get the visibility.
Yes.
So the visibility comes from the rappers and the entertainers and the athletes, who are not spokesmen for our community. But we have people out there that are doing a very good job in representing our community in a good light. But we need a microphone to say, hey, Mark, what are you doing in the community? And let him talk about that. Or, hey, Tony, what are you doing? Or, hey, Suleiman. And, no disrespect to our athletes and our entertainers and people like that. I can't do what they do. No shade to them. They have skills that I don't have. But the vast majority of people in our community don't do that. And those are the people that we need to start highlighting to give our young folks heroes or people
Yeah.
that they want to emulate, as opposed to, LeBron James or, Denzel Washington or, some other entertainer. Those guys are excellent at their trade, but they're not spokesmen for the Black community. That's my point.
Exactly. And all that goes hand in hand with what we're talking about as far as Black men everywhere, not just entertainers, not just, you know, executives, not just people that are middle income. You got lower income people that men that are speaking up now. We're no longer silent. We're letting people. A lot of us are letting people know that I went to another church in the community on Saturday. They had a forum with young men and older men talking and trying to shrink that divide and everything. And they were talking about some of the same things we were talking about. Last week's show was about speaking up and talking and not letting other people set a narrative for us, who we are and where we're going and what we're doing. Without shows like this, Gents Making Sense we're not reaching millions of people right now. But the people that we are reaching, we're trying to help them think about what we're doing and what we're trying to do and
Can,
how to be better. Go
can,
ahead, Sue.
can I jump in? I'm sorry, Mark, for jumping in front of you, but
Oh no, we ain't got no line here. You know
I
how we
know
do. Go ahead.
it's very important to me. You guys have heard me, and I know I've said it so much, it's just ridiculous, but image. I think about something like the Cosby Show. And I think about how there were as many people watching the Cosby Show on Thursdays, and they would get for Super Bowls, football Super Bowls every year. That's a fact. That's not me just talking. Every Thursday, Black people or people around the country would sit down to watch the Cosby Show because it was such a good show. Because it showed a family, a father, a mother, and children. It showed discipline, certain types of way of disciplining people, a good family, professional Black people. We were proud of that show. And we don't have that on television anymore. All we get is reality TV, which is people acting like batshit crazy with no
Yeah.
home training, yelling at each other, fighting, screaming, doing ridiculous stuff. We don't have things like the Cosby Show, or not even just the Cosby Show. I mean, you can go back to some of we're all old enough to remember Good Times. We're old enough to remember, Sanford and Son. Yeah, I mean, Red Fox and those guys, they were poor, they were junk men, but they had qualities, they had respect for each other. You know, they were hardworking men, black men. And those type of shows we don't have anymore. And that's what I mean when I talk about image. We don't control our image because the majority of people who put us on TV don't share our reflection, don't share our morals, don't share our values. We need to have companies that are owned by us, operated by us, to ensure that the image that we're putting out there is the image that we want our young folks to see. And I just wanted to bring that in because, you know, I talked about, you know, I know a lot of people don't like Bill Cosby, but I respect the man. I mean, I respect the fact that Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show had a social scientist on there to ensure that there wasn't a single negative image about Black people that came across in that TV show. I know the Bill Cosby that paid for, you know, the acoustic system. And when Dr. Martin Luther King presented at the I Have a Dream speech, the system, the microphone and all that acoustic system there was paid for by Bill Cosby. I remember the Bill Cosby that created the Black Stuntman Association in Hollywood because Hollywood was taking white people, putting blackface on them to do our stunts. And Bill Cosby was like, what the hell? He created a Black stuntman organization in Hollywood to ensure that Black stuntmen got the credit they were supposed to get. That's what I'm talking about as far as image. Black men stepping out and saying, I'm going to be the leader to ensure that our people get a fair shot. So I just wanted to say that. I apologize for interrupting, but I thought that was important.
Go ahead, Mark.
You know, and that's wonderful what you were saying about the Cosby Show. I mean, one wonderful show. It was a good show that really portrayed a Black family in a different, you know, different light. And so, I mean, to me, I didn't see anything like that growing up. You know, seeing a professional, two professionals in the family, educated. So it to me, it was a wonderful show. I think the other thing too with media is image. I think a lot of times that we have a lot of our younger folks that idolize a lot what they see, you know, TV, radio, a lot of the rapping, not to take anything away from rap music, but you know, one day I had to tell my son he had his pants hanging down, you know, below.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't stand that. And
Right.
I told him that, you know, your pants are supposed to be worn on your waist, not below. And so I think that we have lost a sense in somehow, I mean, in some ways of how we dress. Even when you look at the time with Martin Luther King, even back then, you know, you could see that the younger folks were dressing a lot better than what our folks are dressing today. And I think Martin Luther King's vision would have been for us to have that kind of image of walking around, you know, with pants hanging all off our behinds. Um, he would want us to be presentable, and that's why sometimes we get stereotyped because just by the things we wear. Like my son was getting ready for an interview, and he was going to wear a T-shirt, and I was like, no,
Yeah,
you need to
exactly.
put on a shirt and you need to put on a tie and represent.
Regardless of what the interview was for,
Yes.
you still got to represent yourself. All good points and everything. I kind of want to, progress meets pressure. I'm kind of summing this up, and progress meets pressure. With progress come the pressure to continue to produce, and the pressure to not fall back, so to speak. We're getting pushed back right now, but we can't afford to fall back. This administration, the Trump administration, is basically dismantling education, dismantling anything that has to do with diversity, and trying to say the white man is being ridiculed or being stepped upon, which is just silly. I find myself saying that, just thinking this is silly.
Yeah, I think
Take
but
it and run with it.
well, no, I think that's the plan, which is, you know, I always say this is a snowflake plan. You know, is that, you know, it's not the minorities that are being discriminated against, it's the white people. And it's ridiculous. I mean, we all work in the places that we work. We all live in the same country. We recognize that the where the systematic advantage comes from in this country. But instead of telling people like they always try to tell us, which is, you know, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, be better, and you can be a better person. Now they want to put it and say, oh, well, the reason that so-and-so from West Virginia or Wyoming or Vermont or mine didn't get the job is because Suleiman got it, or they gave it to Tony, or they gave it to Mark. And that's just not the case. We know that's not the case. Those of us that sit on panels and sit on interview panels and have fire and hire ability, we see the candidates that come in. We see how people perform. We see who's qualified, who's not qualified, who has the qualifications to get the job. It's not true. It's just to make a certain segment of this country feel better about the fact that they have underperformed in their life. To try to make them feel as though the reason you're not where you are economically is because somebody like Suleiman or Mark or Tony took that away from you. We know that's not true because we've lived that life. So I take what Vice President Vance and President Trump are doing and saying about things like that with a grain of salt. My biggest concern, and I mentioned this last meeting, is that some of our corporations who know better are falling into the of saying we don't need diversity in our organizations and we're going to get rid of that program. That's my concern, is that corporations, United States corporations that have made billions of dollars off of people who look like you and I, are now turning their backs on us to support these policies of the president.
Yeah, it was really a sad state. And I think Martin Luther King was the one that said, how can you tell a man that can't afford boots to pull themselves up by their bootstrap? Can't afford them. He said, I think one of the things he said too is when we start settling out west, the people that went out west, they were given land, they were given certain things to start over, or start a new life or whatever. They were given all these things when you go out west, or go do this or you go do that. But when they freed the black man who didn't ask to come over here, the immigrant that didn't ask to come over here, what was brought over here, when you decide to stop enslaving them, you just going about your business.
I'm still waiting on my 40 acres and a mule.
And a mule. There you go. There you go. We're set up to fail. We're set up to fail. And we still stand. We're still standing, and we're still moving forward. We're being pushed back, but we're still moving forward. We were set up to fail. Go ahead, Mark, if you want to speak on this.
Yes, what amazes me is Trump's administration in terms of this DEI and getting away from the education, the jobs, and diversity. And what amazes me is that so focused on not having diversity in the workplaces and education, but you look at his cabinet. So how can you talk about diversity and really it was in place to really help the playing ground, make it a little bit more even now. But yet, in a lot of cases, we have been smarter than the ones that are in the positions, but yet we don't have the opportunity because of because of the color of our skin. But yet you look at this administration, and where is a black that's in a high prominent position with Trump? No. You look around that table, and where do you see a black? But yet you want to preach to take DEI away. But then you look at your cabinet. So that tells you right there, all about him.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shame. We're gonna move on a little bit. We're just gonna go into our next segment, which we're gonna talk about is what does MLK's visions ask of us today. So the question or the thing is the dreams call to action. What do we do? What do King's dream call us to do today? And there's three things that we think that it calls us to do, and that's emotional liberation, economic empowerment. What's the third one? Let me see. I had it written down. Collective responsibility. If we can, we'll talk about this, each one of them. Let's start with economic empowerment, since we touched on that already. That's owning our own businesses, not only working our own businesses, but shopping at those businesses, bringing business to those businesses, which means just connecting with each other. The only way we're going to have this is with economic justice and the freedom to move and the financial stability that we need to do this. So we got to get equitable loans, not us paying 15% and they paying 5%. You know, we can do that. We got Suleiman and I talked about, we got the buying power to do it. If the
Oh, yeah.
people would get together, I can only think of one black owned, nationally ran bank at this time. That's it. And nobody really talk about frequenting it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, it's the old concept of crabs in a bucket. And, you know, it's just, you know, that's what I think African Americans need to get away from. You know, I don't need the whole pod, man. I just need a piece. And we need to start thinking in that concept, man. We have a lot of businesses out here, black business owned by black people that do the same things that the Amazons and Walmarts and some of the big box stores provide. It just causes us to go an extra mile, maybe on the road to find it, or to do a little bit of bigger Google search to find these companies. Now, I'm not saying that you should just go out and buy something from somebody just because they're black. What I'm saying is that you should give them an opportunity. Maybe their product is better. Maybe their product is less expensive. Give them an opportunity to show you that they are a legitimate company. Give them an opportunity. That's all we ask for. Black folks have never said that we want an advantage. We just want the opportunity to perform at the same level as everybody else. So I try to do that. When I go and buy something, I look and see what's out there to see if there's another company and give them a shot. And then
Yeah.
secondly, we need to stop beefing with each other. I've never in my life seen people, particularly on YouTube, you got these folks fighting each other over stuff. And I'm like, there's plenty of pie out there. You don't need to, everybody doesn't need to have the whole pie. You know, just take a piece of it to build your empire and then help somebody else build their empire. So I think we can do it. We just got to change our mindset a little bit.
Yeah. Mark?
Mark?
I think again, what you were saying, Suleiman, is very good. Also, we need to start with our youth and teaching them about finances, economic stability when they're young. So as they get older, they know how to better manage their money. They know how to look at different businesses that they may want to go into. So, and those kind of things to me wasn't taught. I wasn't taught those things. So those are kind of things that I teach my boys, today, economic stability, because, your credit score, it means everything. So we gotta position ourselves to be able to be in those type of positions later on down the road. But it also takes an essence of us making sure that we're financially stable, or getting us into a point where we're financially stable, where we can get, those low percent loans, and be able to go after those businesses. So I think we gotta continue to educate our youth, and
Yeah.
making sure that they are economically, teach them about economic stability.
Yeah, yeah, that's important. We'll go on to emotional liberation, and I'll start that one off, because with that youth panel and bridging the gap with the older generation Saturday that I sat in on, one of the things that a young man, he was from Compton in California, and he moved out here in Carrollton to try to get away from gang life. He said something that was really interesting. He said he was in one of the biggest gangs in LA, and he joined an even bigger and stronger gang when he joined the army. And so his experience with the gang, the experience with the army, then he moved out here down south, and you could tell he had the swag in his voice, and tell he had the braids, he had all the tattoos and all that stuff. And he said, when people see me and they see how I talk, they just think I'm the strongest person in the world. And they didn't know that I was going to my room at night and just crying my eyes out. Why, Lord, why did you allow me to not have a father? I don't know who my father is. Why do I have a child and I'm only 15 years old? Why do I have this good woman and I'm abusing her and I'm using her and everything? And then it came to a point where he got a bad woman, and then she started using and abuse him when he started being good. He was like, why is everything this crazy? And he had to go to his room and cry and think about it. He didn't think he could go to anybody and talk about it because he had to be tough, like we've been talking about. I'm here to tell you, man, you're going to have to be vulnerable to heal. You got to be. I learned that with my cancer diagnosis and going through surgery and all that stuff. You can say you can be strong, you can say you can push your way through it, but when you're alone in a room or in the house or in the car, it comes up, and you can't do nothing to stop it from coming up. You can't. I've been in that place where I'm just sitting there trying to hold my emotions down, and you can't. So you need somebody you can talk to. Yeah, you can talk to your wife, but you got to be strong for them too. Because if you're not strong for them, what are they going to do? You got to be strong for your kids. And sometimes you just don't want nobody to know your business, you know? So if you go and talk to a therapist, you can talk about these things freely. And maybe this person with the experience, the education, and the knowledge can show you a way and guide you out of that. And that's how therapy has helped me. I can say that by personal experience. So these young men today need somewhere where they feel safe and they can talk to and not feel weak about talking to about stuff like this because they going through a lot, man. Okay, whoever want to take it.
Go ahead, Mark.
I would have to, again, agree with you on the mental health aspect and just getting the counseling that we need. Again, we've just been raised that, to be tough. And, life throws us so many curveballs that you can't be tough. So there's a lot of counseling that's available out there. We as Black men need to embrace other Black men and tell them that, hey, it's nothing wrong with getting help, when you need it, getting counseling when you need it. So I think brother to brother, we need to continue to preach that in our community with one another and tell them that you don't have to take on this problem or issue by yourself and just let it drown you, that there is help out there and it's available.
Yep, yep. Suleiman.
Yeah, no, I mean, really quick I think I'm on the same page as you guys, but I look at it. The way I look at it is, look, if you're a religious person, if you have faith in something, I don't care what the faith is in, but you have faith in something. I mean, yes, there's a burden to being a man. And God explains that to us in a lot of
Yeah,
times. God tells
exactly.
you're a
Yeah,
man, there are burdens that you take on to be a man. And I think that we need to start teaching, like Mark said, and you said, Tony, is our young folks, our young men to understand that, yes, things are going to be tough because you're a man. Pressure, stress is meant for shoulders, not hips. You're a man and you're going to experience tough parts of your life. You have to be able to deal with it. You need to go in the back room and let some emotion out and some tears out. Got no problems there, no shade. But when you come back out, you need to come back out all 10 toes on the ground, chest out, and be a man and deal with what the responsibilities are. Our job is to protect our family, protect our women, and to be man. It's not about being tough. It's just about being a man. And then with that comes responsibility. So we need to teach that responsibility to our young folks so that they don't make bad decisions. Part of being a man is making good decisions, make decisions that are based in information, decisions that are based in the right thing to do and not emotional decisions. Let everybody else make an emotional decision, but you as a man need to make a decision that's based in information and something that's solid. So I agree with what you guys are saying. I just think we need to educate our young men that you're becoming a man and there are things that come with that that other people don't have to deal with.
right, right, right. And the last part of it, we've been talking about the whole time, and I don't think we got to hit bases on that too much more collective responsibility. As a group of people and a group of men, we have to be responsible for our actions. And we can't expect the youth to do better if we're not showing them better. Simple as that. Yep. Simple as that. So normally, Mark, we'll go into this time, we normally go into what we call on another note. And that's when we give you an opportunity to talk about anything that's happening in the world today or this week that's on your mind. Just another note. And it goes hand in hand with what we got here with the barbershop talk. Instead of calling it barbershop talk, we call it on another note. I know you haven't had time to think about it, so Suleiman, I'm going to lean on you again.
Sure. Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
me
No problem.
what's on your mind on another note.
Yeah. My mine is, and it's going to be really quick. I promise. I always say that, but this one's going to be quick. Is I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to see our president today in Davos,
Yeah, I saw
and it
some
was
of that.
absolutely embarrassing.
It
And I
is.
think I've brought this up before on this channel before, specifically being a former military person, is that I have a reputation or the way I want people to look at our country and to look at our leadership and the respect that I would like to see our leadership get when we go across the pond or we go somewhere else in another country. Our president today embarrassed this country. What he said up there and the stuff that he talked about to not only just our allies, but to other world leaders was embarrassing. As an American, I mean, I've never in my life felt embarrassed to be American, but I was today. I was extremely embarrassed by the way that our president presented himself and he presented our country to the rest of the world. And we as people have got to do something. We have literally got to do something about the fact that we have an incompetent administration, competent people in cabinet positions in our country, and to represent us in the way that was represented to the rest of the world today wasn't embarrassing. So, as a military person, former military person, as an American of 56 years, today was a sad day for me in the way that our country looks. So I'll just
Thank
end.
you. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and do mines, and Mark, you'll be the last one on deck. The last word will be from you. So I want to kind of stay on that same thing. Donald Trump gives us a whole lot of material to work with on a regular basis. On a regular basis, he won't shut up. We had a president that wouldn't talk. Biden wouldn't have press conferences. He wouldn't talk half of the time. And now we got a president that won't shut up and should shut up. You know, really. His administration is worthless. Congress is worthless. Senate is worthless. These guys are getting paid to do nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the Justice Department that the Republicans complained about for years on years, saying that they were liberal and that they were doing unnecessary things, just in the last 2 or 3 days, the Department of Justice have opened up inquiries on every elected official that's involved in Minnesota with the ICE presence there. The governor, the attorney general, the mayor of both of the Twin Cities, and now they want to hold Hillary and Bill Clinton in contempt. Congress want to hold Hillary and Bill Clinton in contempt for not showing up at Congress. For what? For what? Now, these are the same congressmen that when the Democrats were holding power and they were subpoenaed to come and testify, they didn't come and testify. These are the same ones that want to hold them in contempt now. Contempt. The other thing with that is you want them to come and testify why they're in the Jeffrey Epstein files, but Donald Trump is in there more than they are. And you ain't asking him to come talk.
Right.
This Justice Department is the biggest sham I've ever seen. And the one thing I used to say to my friends, and if you know any of my friends that I talk to about politics, is Congress, the Senate, Democrats, Republican president, they all lie. All of them can't be trusted at some point in time. They're good ones, but for the most part, they're all tainted because they get money from people and they're asked to do things that they hide from the general public. But I always said the law is the law. And the Justice Department would keep us square. You can do whatever you want to, but when it comes to the court, they're going to make sure that they keep you square. I can't say that anymore. Can't say it anymore. I don't know what the Justice Department gonna do. I don't know what the Supreme Court is gonna do half of the time. So, well, yeah, I know what they're going to do because of their affiliation with a party, which there shouldn't be. It should be their affiliation with the law, not a party. Anyway, that's my on another note. It's ridiculous. It's a banana Republican. Mark, so bring it home for us.
You know, what bothers me on the other note is the trigger finger of the president when it comes to the National Guard. He always wants to deploy the National Guard. And what bothers me the most is that it's always a Democratic, where Democratic governor is at.
Yeah.
Now, so where is this at with the Republicans?
Yeah.
You know, all this mess is going on with ICE right now in Minnesota. And so now he's thinking about sending the National Guard there. And it's a shame because people just are tired of what this ICE is doing. And now you want to send the National Guard. You know, during the summer, I remember I used to go to a lot of baseball games, and I saw the National Guard in DC. And when I was on the metro or in the metro station, I would get off the train and I would see the National Guards, and they'd just be standing there, twirling their fingers, doing nothing. Like, why am I here?
That's what they're saying. We've been
There's
there.
no
We know
rally.
that. We've been there. We know it when they send you out on a boondoggle.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you got two people, you know, that was killed for no reason. Two National Guards was killed for no reason, for them not even need to be out there. And why are we sending troops to cities? Why do we want to send troops to cities? And if it's up to him, he will go ahead and send, you know, the active duty out there. This man needs to be stopped. I mean, and Congress don't have no backbone at all and will continue to allow him to do whatever he wants to do. But yet, like you said, they want to bring Hillary, you know, and Bill in, but you can't even, you know, hold your own president accountable for his actions. Me on the other note.
That
was good.
Like I said, we get more than enough material from that man on a daily basis. And it ain't gonna stop with the speech today. Watch what he say tomorrow. Go ahead. Okay, anything else before we go, y'all? I enjoyed tonight. I'm serious. You got to come back, Mark. You really do. We need that fresh opinion and everything. We gonna do this till the wheel falls off. So you're invited to come anytime you want. If there's a subject that you want to discuss, if there's something you want to bring front and center, bring it and we will put it out there. Ain't that right, Sulayman?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. We loved it, man. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you coming back.
Well, thank you guys for allowing me to be here.
Okay, we're going to give you a hand clap on that one. Okay, thanks a lot, sir. Until next week, we'll see y'all, okay?
All right, man.
Be blessed.